Hey, 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 it is Chef Evelyn here, and I am back as promised for another installment in the Chef Care series. And I just wanted to come on briefly today in a little bit more of a lighthearted discussion way. I'm not going to take up too much of your time because it's Friday. I typically don't work on Fridays, but I promised you that I would go live and share kind of whatever was on my heart and my mind to share about the Chef Care series. And what came to me real actually last night as I was getting ready to go to sleep was to talk about, how to get what you want, right? And you're probably like, this self-care series is like not what I thought it was going to be. I thought you were going to tell me to take a bubble bath and create a morning routine and light a candle and listen, do those things, okay? Do those things. But as I've said in previous videos, I think self-care is much more significant, much deeper than just bubble baths and, candles and things like that. So, not to discredit those things, but like I said, I think it's a little bit deeper than that. And I wanted to talk about this subject of how to get what you want because we're getting ready to head into the new year, at least when I'm filming this and streaming this live. And if you're watching the replay or watching this after the new year, there's nothing happening on January 1st. It's not happening any other day of the year. So you can do this at any given time, okay? Oh, and listen, let me introduce myself. I'm Chef Evelyn. I am a culinary brand strategist, and I am on a mission to support women in living, cooking, and working on their own terms by helping them create high-end culinary brands from scratch. But I wanted to do this video on how to get what you want because we are, heading into the new year, and a lot of people are going to be writing out their goals, and a lot of people are going to be writing out their plans, and a lot of people are going to be creating vision boards, and they're going to be doing all the things and all the memes about what I'm leaving behind in 2021 and new year, new me, and yada, 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 right? And listen, nothing wrong with that. I have goals, I have plans, all that, but I've definitely seen what has happened when, I get the really cute, stickers and washi tape and vision board parties and do all that. And then you get, 3 months into the year and 6 months into the year and, 9 months into the year. And you're like, what happened to this vision board that I was supposed to be having, right? So I want to just share with you a few quick things because, like I said, it's Friday afternoon. I need a snack, okay? And, I don't want to take up too much time for your weekend, but I thought this would be a good one for you to chew on, for you to marinate on over the weekend. And also want to remind you that this coming week is the last week for you to apply for the chef's table that's getting started in January. It's last week to not only apply, but also schedule your call. So you have until Friday. Tuesday and Wednesday are already blocked out. So you got Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to schedule your call, get your application in so that you can join us at the beginning of the year. So with that being said, let's kind of jump right into how to get what you want. And I thought about this topic, like I said, because of the new year, but also my mom and I have had this conversation about that when she was in college. I think I don't know if it was one of her roommates or somebody on campus that knew her and was like, you always get what you want, right? And her joke is like, is that a bad thing? Like, don't most people want to get what they want? And she was like, but the reality is that I had a process for getting what I want. And so, it's something that, I've kind of learned by watching her and then, applied in my own life. And anytime that, I had a goal or something and it didn't do what I really wanted to do, and it was within my control, let me say that, then this is, I probably didn't do this process, right? So the first thing I want to say when it comes to getting what you want is you really need to be honest with yourself about what you want, right? So sometimes we know what we want and we're like, that's too much. I shouldn't want that. I should want this. I should desire this. I should, everything but what we really, really want, right? And when we deny what we really, really want, right? When we're not honest with ourselves over time, particularly with women, it messes with our intuition. It messes with our like inner knowing. When you say you know in your gut, when we don't really, when we're not really honest with ourselves about what we want, right? And I was telling a friend of mine, and this is for those of you all who are people of faith, but I still think this you can get something out of it if you're not. But I was like, I'm really in a season of my life where I feel like God is like, I'm not giving you less than what you want. Oh, I'm not about to, if you really, if you really want X, why would I give you 3, right? Like, so we're not doing second best. We're not doing that'll do. Be honest with yourself about what you want. Because here's the thing, if you're not honest with yourself about what you want, you're not going to be satisfied with what you get. Let me say that one more time. If you're not honest with yourself about what you want, you're not going to be satisfied with what you get, right? And so, sometimes we feel like, oh, if I want this certain lifestyle, or if I want to make this amount of money, or if I want to take these kind of vacations, or if I want to dress this way, or look this way, or treat myself this way, or care for my family in this way, or live a certain way, right? And it's like you really have to be honest with yourself about what it is you really want, right? Not what you think you should want, not what you think others think you should want, not what you think is appropriate, not what you think is acceptable, not what you think is politically correct, not what you think is proper, none of that. You have to be honest with yourself about what you want. And let me tell you why this is like so crucial. Because a lot of times we think that we struggle with consistency or discipline or stick-to-itiveness, and we think we don't have the willpower for something, right? And the reality is it's because that's not really the thing that we want. And so it's really hard to be disciplined or consistent or overcome, willpower if it's not really what you want, right? And so then we'll beat ourselves up because we're like, why am I procrastinating? Why am I dragging my feet? Why won't I be consistent? It's like, because that's not what you really want, right? I said in a previous video that all discipline is keeping a promise to yourself, right? But here's the thing. If the promise that you made to yourself is not what you really want, then you're not going to do what you need to do to get it, right? So, first and foremost, be honest with yourself about what you want. And sometimes that's not an instantaneous experience, right? Sometimes it takes really sitting down. If you're a journaler, maybe journaling. If you're a verbal processor, maybe you need to talk it out with somebody, right? In whatever area in your life that you're like, okay, let me be honest about what I want. And sometimes if there's been disappointment there, or you've given up hope about something, or if there's frustration, or you've been let down before in that area, or you haven't been consistent before in that thing, or you wanted something really bad before and you didn't get it, sometimes we can be a little hesitant to be honest about what it is that we want, right? So I've spent enough time on that point. I think you get what I'm saying. But, in order to get what you want, the first thing you have to do is to be honest with yourself about what you want, right? If you want a thriving business, if you want support, if you want to have children, if you want a spouse, if you don't want to work in corporate, if you want to make X amount of 5 figures a month, right? If if there's things in your business that you're like, I really don't want to do this anymore, right? It's okay. Like, the world is not going to come crashing down if you're just honest with yourself about what you want, right? But I will say this. I think the next piece in how to get what you want is that once you're honest with yourself about what you want, you've got to believe that you can have it. And sometimes it's hard to be honest with ourselves about what we want if we don't really believe that we can have it. Now, sometimes it's a belief that like this can't happen at all for anybody, but sometimes, and I find more often than not, and even in my experience, is that, in order to be honest about what we want, we have to believe what we want, and we will believe it for other people, but we don't necessarily believe it for us, right? And like I said, for my faith-based people out there, hey there, right? How you doing? Welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for watching, right? Um, so, like I was saying, the first step is to be honest with yourself about what you want. And then you have to believe that you can have what you want specifically to you, right? That if you don't believe that you can have it despite what you wanted, then you're not going to get it, right? You won't do what you need to do to get it. And so sometimes that believing, like I said, is more personal, that you know that other people can have the same thing. You believe it for them, but you don't believe it for yourself. And like I said, if there's been disappointment or frustration or hurt or, like giving up hope, right, then you don't believe it for yourself. And even underneath that, right, sometimes there's a little bit of, do you feel like you're worth having what you want, right? So when it comes to how to get what you want, the first thing you want to do is you want to be honest with yourself about what you want. There's no right or wrong answer. Like I said, not what you think you're supposed to want, not what other people, what you think other people think you should want, not what's PC, not what's, no, be honest with yourself about what you want. And sometimes that takes getting out of other people's opinions and other people's input, right? I was, given the example about my mom and her college roommate and how, or her college friend who was like, you always get what you want. But also we have this phrase about going into our control room, right? And I think I've shared this example on another video, but basically, I heard a speaker talk about how that, imagine, your life is a boat, right? And, your thoughts and your emotions and your feelings is like the control room that is steering this boat or steering this ship, right? And so when it comes to being honest about what you want, believing what you want, taking your life in the direction that you want it to go, a lot of times, yes, we're in the control room, but we've got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different people in there, right? We may have people that we know. We may have people that we don't know. We may have fictional people in there. We may have people in there who are not even here with us on earth anymore, right? We've got something that one person said 15 years ago in there, right? And so all these other opinions and all of these other thoughts and all of these others, you should and you shouldn't and you could and you should, all of this is all inside of your control room, and everybody's in there with their hand on the steering wheel, and then you're wondering why your life is just doing like this, just all over the place, right? And our phrase is, take that into your control room, right? And the only people that should be in the control room is you, God, and anybody you invite in temporarily, right? And that's it, right? And so if you do that and go, you know what, before I go call everybody and verbally process with everybody and get 15 people's opinion and what do I really want, right? So being honest with yourself, believing that you can have what you want. The next thing, and how to get what you want is you have to ask. You have to have the courage to ask, right? You have to be bold enough to ask. And here's the thing, a lot of times the reason why we don't ask for what we really want, either we haven't been honest with ourselves, we don't believe that we can have it, or, right, we aren't bold enough to be like, this is what I want. I'm asking you for what I want. And here's the thing, it's okay for people to tell you no. It's okay because here's the thing, what you need to know is that you can still get what you want, even if you won't get it the way that you want, right? And this is in any area of life, right? Whether this is in your faith life, your finances, your relationships, your family, your business, your finances, whatever, your health, whatever the case may be, you can have what you want. It may just not come in the way that you think, or the way that you can imagine, or the way that you have decided that it has to happen that way, right? But if you let go of the how and know that it doesn't matter how I get what I want as long as I get it, right? It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter how, okay? So you have to ask, right? And know that just because someone or something, I can't get it from that place or that person or this particular way, doesn't mean that there's not another way, a better way, an alternate way, an easier way, a more enjoyable way, a more satisfactory way to ultimately get what you want. Because what you need to know is that what you want is not bad. And I probably should back up, right? Or maybe I should make this a bonus point. is that in order to have what you want, you can't make what you want wrong. Like, you can't make what you desire bad, right? Because inherently nobody wants to be a bad person. Nobody wants to act on bad things. Most people don't want to do that, right? And if you judge what you want, if you make it wrong, if you make it bad, if you make it inappropriate, if you make it all these different things, right, then you're not going to act on that. You're not going to ask for that because you're going to think it's bad or wrong or that you shouldn't have that. So not only being honest about what you want, right, but also, okay, but also believing that you have what you want, but not making it wrong, right? And then once you believe that you can have what you want, once you're honest about what you want, right, and once you don't make what you want wrong, ask for what you want. You have to be bold. You have to be courageous, right? But here's the thing: if you don't ask, it's a guaranteed no. Say guaranteed no, right? If you don't ask for what you want, right? And here's the thing, after you ask for what you want, be willing to do whatever it is you need to do to get what you want. One of my favorite quotes, and so many people have said it that I wish I could give whoever the originator of this quote was credit, is like, don't be mad at the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do, right? And I think I shared this a couple of days ago, like, that you can have what somebody else has as long as you're willing to do what they did to get it. Right? Like, you can have success in your career. You can have success in your health. You can have success in your finances, in your friendships, in your relationships, in your family, in your business. You can have success in those areas when you see other people with those things. If you, one, are honest with yourself that that's what you really want. Two, believe that you can have it. Three, don't make yourself wrong for wanting it. Four, ask for what you want, whether that's asking a person, whether that's prayer, whether that's an ask of yourself, right? And then be willing to do what you need to do. Hey, welcome to the broadcast. Listen, I guess this Friday broadcast is bringing out all the little people hanging out in the background, right? Welcome. We just up here chatting about how to get what you want, since I know that the year is coming to an end and people are going to be, planning their goals and vision boards and doing all the things. And I'm just sharing with my process on how to get what I want, right? So that as we wind down into the holiday season and ease into the new year, just a little Friday video, something for people to marinate on over the weekend. And just talking about, how to get what you want. So first we said you have to be honest with yourself about what you want, not making it wrong, right? Not, taking on what other people think you should want, not what you think is politically correct or correct for your social circle or your friends or your family, but being really, really gut level honest with yourself about what you want. And then, we talked about really believing that you can have what you want, right? And that sometimes we feel that other people can have it, right? Or that other people, can get it, but maybe not us, right? And sometimes that's because we may not feel like we're worthy of having what we want. And then we talked about not making what you want wrong, right? Because sometimes if we're really honest with ourselves about what we want, it's not the status quo. It's not the norm. It's not what the masses want, right? What we desire is something truly unique to us in our lives. And sometimes we make it wrong because it doesn't look like what everybody else is doing. It doesn't sound like what everybody else is saying, right? It's not moving the way everybody else is moving. And just because it doesn't look like what everybody else is doing doesn't make it wrong. Just because it's the complete opposite of what your friends may do or your family members or your parents or whoever may be doing or think is the right thing to do doesn't necessarily make it wrong, okay? So we talked about being honest about what you want, believing that you can have what you want, don't making it wrong, asking, right? Having the courage and the boldness to ask for what you want, right? And then going into be willing to do what you have to do to get what you want, right? My favorite quote, don't be mad at the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do, okay? And you can have what anybody else has if you're willing to do what they did to get it, right? And then the last thing is receive what you asked for. Receive what you want. Sometimes we get so close to the finish line, if you will, right? And we will just mess that thing up because we were like, okay, I'm gonna really believe that I can have it. Okay, I'm worthy of having it. My desires are not wrong. Okay, I'm gonna ask. Okay, whatever. And then we'll, okay, you know what? You don't have to. Never mind. Right? And then we'll just let it go. We'll just fumble the ball, right? And it's like once you go through that process, you have to be okay with receiving what you want and enjoying it, right? And being like, yeah, this is what I wanted. This is what I asked for. This is what I worked for, right? This is what I prayed for. This is what I've been disciplined about. And receive it and enjoy it, okay? And don't make it wrong for enjoying it, because sometimes, okay, we'll get what we want and then we're off to the next thing and we don't spend time just to savor it and say, okay, good job, or giving thanks, right? For people who, helped us, or, granted our requests, or for answered prayers, or whatever the case may be, right? So, once you go through believing and being honest with yourself and not making what you want wrong, right? Asking, doing what you need to do, right? Then allow yourself to receive it. Because you could go through all of that, right? You could go through the believing, you can go through the being honest with yourself, you could go through the asking, you could go through doing the work, but you still won't have what you want if you don't relax and receive it, right? So listen, I didn't plan on keeping y'all today because I know some of the broadcasts from earlier this week have been quite lengthy. But if you need something to chew on over the weekend, I'm putting all of these Chef Care series videos in a playlist. So after this live renders down, you can watch the replay if you came in late, right? And I've got 2 weeks worth of this self-care for chefs series in there, but I really think it's applicable to anybody that's watching, right? Because we all need self-care. But I'm going to put in the playlist, and then also wanted to remind you that next week is your last week to apply for the Chef's Table group experience that's getting started in January. And if you've already filled out an application, whether recently or earlier this year, and you still haven't scheduled your call, you've got Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of next week to do that. And then the Chef's Table won't be open again until November, December of 2022. So I tell people all the time, waiting is risky, right? There's this planner that I love to get every year, right? And for years, we've been asking this planner company to come out with like a neutral cover, right? I love neutral tones. I love it, right? And so they finally did. And I remember seeing it on launch day and I was like, oh yeah, let me get it, right? And then I remember, seeing it and it was, on like some kind of deal. And I was like, oh yeah, I need to get it. And then I remember seeing it for Black Friday and I was like, oh yeah, I need to get it. And then the next thing I know, it was sold out and they're like, yeah, and we're not restocking it. After all of these years and all of, being in their community and asking and this, and they finally, here we go. They finally gave us what we wanted. And what did I do? I fumbled the ball. I didn't receive it. I didn't do what I need to do to get what I wanted, right? And I was like, hot dog it, Evelyn, right? Yes, better get it now. But listen, Meg said it best, right? Better get it now before the doors are closed. Thank you for that. But I missed out on it. And I was like, they're literally not going to restock till next year. So I'm going to have to go the whole year without something that I've been asking for years, right? Like actually, now that I think about it, that ties in perfectly to what we've been talking about today. So, listen, the link to apply is in the description box of this video. If you go to chefevelyn.com/program and follow the steps to apply and schedule your consultation call, I'm excited to speak with you. like I said, if you haven't been sharing this series, this Chef Care series with a friend, make sure you do, because sharing is caring, okay? And it's the season of giving, okay? So give somebody the gift of, self-care. But with that being said, I have been talking for almost a half an hour, so I'm going to let you go. Like I said, if you're watching the replay, you can always leave your questions and comments below. I would love to know if you've been enjoying this series, what your aha were, what your takeaways were, and I will see you next week. Peace.